Hello and welcome to episode 131 of Gamers of a Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony, and joining me this week is the other Spark on the pod. He's light, he's fluffy, it's the Gaming's Yorkshire Pudding.
Hello, how are you doing? You alright?
Not too bad, not too bad. I just, in my head I was going to say, and he goes really well with a side of beef, but I don't know how you would take that, Steve, so...
It's probably more of an apt description. I'm trying to be light and fluffy, as we were describing in the pre-pod ramble. We've committed to the big wedding day in 2020, so now Operation Get Fit for the Wedding is in full effect. So I'm restricting myself to beer on a weekend now. I've got a glass of lemonade rather than a beer for the podcast this evening, so it's so far it's going well. I've been out for a run this week. I'm going for a run again after this very podcast, hopefully. So yes, hopefully it will be a nice slimline Yorkshire pudding come April 2020.
Yes, and just for those on the pod, Steve and I are not getting married. Steve's getting married today. Yes, we're committing. We're getting married.
Yes,
Antony and Steve love each other that much. They're getting married. So yes, no, congrats. I mean, you had the big engagement. So is that where you were at the weekend, because you were at Cornwall, wasn't you? You were deep in the lovely part of Cornwall at the weekend.
We were, yes, albeit a very long drive, but very worth it indeed. So yeah, so we are getting married down there. So kind of a dual purpose trip. Her mum was down there on a breakaway, so we kind of piggybacked on that and got a free weekend out of it. So yeah, while we were down there, we paid for the deposit. So we're getting married at the Harbour Hotel in St Ives in Cornwall, which St Ives is pretty much our favourite place to be in Cornwall. So yes, that's happening. It's a thing. So yes, it was a nice weekend, but yeah, it's a long drive. So we hurriedly went down after work on the Thursday, set off about 7, got there for 1 a.m, which wasn't too bad, to be fair. We had 2 stops in there as well, so I didn't think we made bad time. So, but yeah, we looked at flights, but it's so expensive just to go to Cornwall. It had been about, to fly out on the Thursday night and return on the Sunday when we were coming back, it was £350 return for both of us. But £350, it's 45 minutes. It's not even that far. You know, I mean, I looked out of interest, and not for the summer, albeit, but for the week of my birthday in September. Just for me, I was looking. I could fly out on the Monday, which is the 10th, which is my birthday, and come back on Friday the 15th, and it was £79 return. Right, wow! I can go to Germany for less money. It's ridiculous. Yes, it's ridiculous.
You could get a Gamescom, but I guess if you're going Thursday to Sunday, that's like peak flight time, isn't it? You know, that's kind of optimum flight time. Where they kind of stick you for as much money as they can.
Yeah, well, it's start of the summer holidays as well. So if you'd have booked it in advance, it probably would have been cheaper. But yeah, it was like the start of the summer holidays, which inevitably is just going to be, you know, rip off, you know, see people coming as they're walking in and say, yes, we'll have you 3 times as much than normal. Yes, thank you very much, goodbye. So yeah,
I'm sorry, so the price has just gone up since you clicked. It's just like it's now double. So apart from booking the venue for the big day, did you find any kind of cool bars or any new breweries kind of hiding down in Cornwall?
There's Verdant, which are down there, which I didn't manage to get to because we only had a few days down there, so I didn't think it was really fair if I committed a day to kind of going around and doing beery things. So I kind of put my beer hunting to one side. There's a really nice beer shop in St Ives called John's, which has got a decent selection in, so I did call in there. Padstow Brewery, I got one of theirs in, and a brewery called Black Flag as well. I don't know if you've seen it near where you are, but yeah, they were both really nice. There's one place as well that I can't remember who mentioned it. I think is it Manny that said he'd earmarked it, the Beer and Bird in St Ives. Oh yes. Oh yes. That I could eat that every day. It's just fried chicken, but it is the best fried chicken you will ever eat. It's like it's KFC. I don't like KFC, but it's like KFC on speed. Right. It's just like what KFC should be. So like I said, it's called the Beer and Bird. So it's a craft beer bar. They've probably got about 10 or 12 beers on tap, and then a load of selection of can. Which, admittedly, the cans are a bit expensive, as they usually are when you're drinking out anyway. So, but yeah, the food's so good.
Really? It looked good. The pictures you were posting looked so good. They looked so good. The
one I had when I was down there was, I can't remember what it was called now. It was the barbecue one, which had cheese, coleslaw, everything on it, onion rings. But the one I had down there was a pulled chicken burger. So it was slow cooked pulled chicken with barbecue sauce, cheese, coleslaw, in a brioche bun. The pulled cock, as it was called. It always gets a bit of a snigger when you're in there. If you can I have the pulled cock, please? But that and a few pints, and I was in heaven, absolute heaven.
Yes.
The dirty fries as well, just fries covered in cheese, mayo, spring onions, barbecue sauce.
Nice.
That needless to say, that didn't help my plight to lose weight, but the epitome came, or should I say the epiphany, came after the weekend. I was like, right, we are getting married now. We've paid for it, so no more pulled chicken, no more dirty food, shall we say. So yes, on the straight and now. But yeah, it's quite a good hotspot really for drinking and beers. There's quite a few pubs down there. Shout out to the Lamp and Whistle, which again I didn't go for over the weekend, but I went last time in where is it now? I can't remember which town it's in now. That's really bad.
St Ives.
That's really nice. That's really bad. Penzance. That's it. It's in Penzance. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, that's really good. Just a small craft pub, but yeah, really good beer, really good company. So yeah, it's a shame it's not a local pub. The pub down the road from us just does the normal Foster's, Budweiser. It's like,
oh, that's so
the
sad.
pub quiz down there is good, but you can't even get a BrewDog. Can't even get a bottle of BrewDog down there. So I'd settle for that. But no, sadly not. And it's a bit of a way to travel just for a pub. So yeah.
Yes.
But yes, how's your week been anyway since the last record?
Yes. Not too bad, actually. Not too bad. Speaking of BrewDog, we kind of, the work on Friday, we kind of had our kind of customary kind of Friday afternoon where we kind of went to, there's a local BrewDog in Tower Hill. And I had a couple of pints of 5 a.m. Sate, which was just,
it's one of my favourites. Yeah, it's the red ale, or red pale, that one is.
Yes, yes. It's this kind of, it's like an amber, isn't it? It's this kind of, it was like 31 degrees in London and they went down so well. And there was I kind of had like a buffalo chicken burger to go with that, and it was just, oh my god, it was just so lovely. It was just really nice. But apart from I'm hungry now and I've just had my dinner. So apart from that, I went to see Ant-Man and the Wasp at the weekend. So the latest Marvel movie. So Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, and kind of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and that was really good. Really enjoyed seeing the Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's kind of set around, I think it's kind of almost like during the events of Infinity War, especially as like kind of they have they do have a slight nod to it. So there's a couple of after credit scenes. There's two PSA. There's two, so yeah. But it's just it's fantastic. It's such a great movie. It really improves on the original. Paul Rudd is just such a fantastic character as Ant-Man, and it's just like, and it's really good. They really did hit the beats of that a sequel should, but then improve at the same time. And I really enjoyed it. And we went to our kind of the normal place, so we went to X Plus. I had my normal seat on the recliner, and it was really good to see some of the trailers that kind of dropped in San Diego a couple of weeks ago. So we had the Shazam trailer, which looks great, Aquaman trailer, which looks really good on the big screen, and it was just really good to just kind of see those kind of on the big screen with the Dolby Atmos sound. So I'm quite hyped for both of those now.
Yeah. So did it kind of, I know you were tweeting saying, obviously like you say, it's set around the events of Infinity War. Does it kind of explain why he's not in there without going into too kind of spoiler territory? Does it kind of tie that in nicely, or? It does.
It doesn't kind of go, it doesn't, it's not very obvious. It's not like, I wasn't there because of this, but you kind of...
I'm busy. I'm just declining his invite on his calendar.
Yeah, exactly. He just gets a text message. He's like, nope, so just the events in the film and the reason that he's kind of not there are obvious if you're kind of just looking for them. With that, it's hard to say without spoilers, but yes, it definitely kind of covers up why Ant-Man kind of wasn't there. And it also, it's quite funny actually, because right at the start of the movie, it has a call out to Civil War as well. So, because like Ant-Man was in Civil War, so Scott Lang kind of turned up in that. So it kind of, it tells you, it kind of leads on from there, but it also kind of, it also connects to Infinity War, so it's absolutely fantastic, and I just absolutely loved it. So so it's really good. I highly recommend going and seeing it. It's a great Marvel MCU movie. We haven't done I've just remembered actually while I was thinking about what I've done. Nicola and I haven't done the customary thing of kind of rating them, putting it into our letterbox list of rating it kind of once we've seen it. So I'll have to have a think about that, kind of where it rates. But it might be actually kind of like just alongside the original Ant-Man. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So that was it really. That was my week. Kind of been playing some games, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it was just Sunday. I think we were just hiding from the glorious weather because it was just too hot. It was like about 32 degrees. So we spent the day kind of in the movie room, kind of hiding in the movie room. Exactly, playing Overcooked, just hiding in there and just kind of and watching some TV and catching up on some TV. I finished the latest season of Supergirl, which is absolutely fantastic. So I finished that. I'm watching Star Trek Discovery now is kind of the next one that I'm watching, as well as kind of catching up with Flash as well. So there's never kind of anything. There's never a kind of a lull with TV because there's always just so much just kind of there ready, kind of queued up, ready to kind of go next. So it's good fun. So Supergirl was season 2 of Supergirl. Season 2 of Supergirl was absolutely fantastic. It was really cool.
Yeah, like you say, it's kind of a bit like the games at the minute, isn't there? Like with TV, there's kind of too much in a way because there's all this new stuff coming out. But then like with Netflix, there's like so much like old stuff as well. Because like I've started watching Friends on Netflix again, which I've not a massive Friends fan. I've never really properly watched it, but Anna loves it. So we've just started from season 1 because the entirety of the back catalogue is on there at the minute. So it's like,
wow,
we've watched pretty much all the latest series of Orange Is the New Black because that came out. That came out back end of last month, start of this month. I think we've only got like one episode left of that. But yeah, when you've got like other things to watch that you can just have in the background, just not think about it, just have a bit of background noise, and it's just like, yeah, it's just too much.
Yes, it's a good problem to have, but like I say, Friends is probably like a really good program to have in the background, and then just like play Switch, and just kind of like do a bit of Animal Crossing or play Switch or something like that, and just kind of get lost into that. So yeah, we've been watching a program that's just kind of come out in the US called Making It, which is it's a crafting version of the Great British Bake Off. They've only had 2 episodes, and it's presented by Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman, who play Leslie Knope and God, I've drawn a blank. They play a couple of characters in Parks and Rec, and Ron Swanson, that's the other one who Nick Offerman plays. And so it's basically them just kind of, and it's just the happiest program ever. So I've actually started rewatching Parks and Rec from the start because Amazon Prime have Parks and Rec. So I'm just like, right, episode 1, season 1, here we go, and just kind of starting from the start again because that is just, it just makes me happy. That program just is so fun. It's just such Parks and Rec is such a great program.
Yeah. So what is it? Is it just like kind of, when you say it's like making things, it's just kind of like an arts and crafts sort of thing? Is it just? It
100%. Yeah. It's called Making It, and it is just they have 2 rounds, and they basically just arts and crafts. So it started off with 8 crafters, and now there's down to 6 because there's been 2 episodes and they let them go. But when you win a round, you get a badge that they then sew onto their apron, and it's just awesome. This week they made terrariums, and then they had to make a fort, and it is just amazing. It is just amazing.
How do you craft a terrarium?
Well, they already have the glass, so they have the glass. But
so you have to make the glass from scratch.
But outside of this barn, so like the Great British Bake Off has a tent, this place has a barn. Outside of the barn, there is like a wood cutting facility. So there's one guy who works a lot with wood. So they just like run out, and then suddenly there's these saws, and there's all this wood, and then they're cutting, and it's honestly, it's I was going to say Leslie Knope and Ron Swanson, but Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman make it like they are so funny in this program, and they just make it incredible. But actually seeing all this arts and crafting is just really cool. Like there's one guy who makes a lot of stuff out of felt. There's one, they all kind of stay in their wheelhouse. There's like one person who makes a lot out of felt, one person makes a lot out of paper. And I'm hoping that it comes to the UK so I can kind of watch more, or comes to Netflix or something like that. so I can watch more episodes, because like I say, I've only been able to get hold of 2, and it's incredible. Making it is just, it's such a fun, it's almost more fun than the Bake Off, if that was even possible, you know. So saying that, the Bake Off, there was an advert the other day. We will get to games in a moment. There was an advert the other day on Channel 4 for the Bake Off, so that's coming. That's coming soon.
Is there a date for that starting, or does it just say coming soon?
There was just an advert. I don't know if there was a date. I was too excited, going, the Bake Off's here.
It's about Bake Off season, isn't it? It's that time. It's that time of year.
It is. Yes, it normally leads nicely into kind of like almost near Christmas type
like
thing,
autumn to winter.
Yes. I was going to say, and then Strictly starts, but I won't say that I watched that on a podcast. I would never say that. So.
I cannot confirm nor deny that I watch Strictly Come Dancing.
No, I will not say that I do. I do.
Yes.
Anyway,
we
Steve,
do not comment on rumours and speculation.
No. So anyway, Steve, what have you been playing this week?
So kind of going off what you and Stuart were talking about last week. Thank you for in advance for the sharing of the game as well. I kind of jumped into Overcooked 2. I kind of dedicated myself last night to kind of podcast research evening, so I thought I should try a few things, and I gave Overcooked 2 a go, albeit solo. Can't yet play it with Anna because we don't actually have a second controller in the household for the Xbox, which is something that we do need to get on and buy. But yeah, I probably played about the first 4 or 5 levels on my own, and I enjoyed it. It's very stressful. Very stressful. Just playing by myself, I was stressing at myself. I can't imagine playing it with somebody else. You know what I mean? Because I was just annoyed with myself. Like, what am I doing? What are you doing that for? So I can easily see why it causes a bit of a ruckus in the Chesson household. I can see why, certainly. But yeah, they've kind of done as good a job, I think, as they can do playing it solo when it's designed for co-op. I think it's implemented in the very best way that it could. I think having just the ability to quickly flick from one chef to the next, at the touch of the button. So you can leave one chef chopping sushi, for example. The other one can go put some rice on, then when that one's finished, go put the sushi on the plate, and then go get another plate, and the other one can then put and vice versa. So it does work up until the point where you start getting the food prep, and then the washing of the plates and the retrieving of the plates, and the multiple the multiple sort of you've got to cook the rice, and the rice can only be on boil for so long before it goes spoiled, and then and then you got to put the rice pan
and then
back.
Your kitchen sets on fire.
Yeah, then you've got people walking through the kitchen. What kitchen is this?
I know, that's new.
Yeah.
That's new. I'm just because
I was just expecting to walk through them because I thought, they're just there for show, but no, couldn't walk through. I'm like, what's he doing in my kitchen? Get out of here, So yeah, but I can easily see why it causes a few.
In later levels, there's cars.
Arguments.
There's cars in later levels that kind of like you've got to cross a street. Who creates a kitchen where you have to cross the street to clean up plates?
It's a new meaning, isn't it? Really, it's like no zebra crossing for you to get priority as you're walking across. Yeah.
Well, saying that there is a zebra crossing, and I thought, if I do the zebra crossing with this plate of food, I'll be fine. But no, I got run over. So it was
going.
just like
they just keep going. When they're hungry, they don't care. But yeah, so I've not progressed past the first 4 or 5 levels because I don't think I possibly can, So, but yeah, I like it. It's
really good, isn't it?
It's a really, really nice little game, and I think, albeit you can't have much of a story to these things, but so far from what I've seen in terms of the writing, it's quite lighthearted and quite humorous, and the story of the unbred coming to life, it's. And I like the map as well, driving around the little bus, because
it's awesome.
Obviously you've got to travel the country to find new recipes to thwart the unbred from, taking over, so I like having that little map that you can drive around on, so yeah. It looks like there's a lot of levels as well. It looks like there's quite a lot of levels.
Yes. Yeah, I think there's 6 worlds. There's 6 worlds, and each one has about 6 levels in each world. So, have you noticed that when your little bus, when it goes over water, that it suddenly becomes like a little hovercraft?
No, I didn't notice that. No.
Yeah, and then there's one where you go to space and you get little jet engines behind it. It's so subtle but so cute.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
Little things like that, though, isn't it? Someone's actually. Taking time to design that and think about it.
Yes,
could quite easily just be a bus that drives across water cost reasons, but no, somebody actually taking the time to do that, it just goes to show it's well thought out, isn't it? So
it's exactly just a little hovercraft just appears. It's just so cute. But we've now finished. So we've now finished the game. So Nicola and I have now finished, and we started playing some of the versus mode as well. So there's versus mode. So on Tuesday when it unlocked, versus mode became available. So we were like kind of online, because what I have noticed, they've done it again. Overcooked. I was talking about it last week, but they've done it again, which is only the person who is playing, so only the main person gets the achievements, or anything that you're doing counts the achievements when you're kind of sharing. So what we ended up doing was, because I made the console that Nicola was playing was the main console, and then the TV next to it in the movie room, I just fired that up and logged into there. So I would then I started getting the counting towards the achievos as well. So because it's same screen, I just ignored my tiny little screen and just looked at the big screen, and then just did that. So we ended up playing versus mode. But my only problem is the achievement there's one which is play 15 levels of versus. Done that wasn't too bad. But then there's an achievement for winning 10. So you got to win 10 levels. Now, trying to beat Nicola 10 times, it's like,
have you even done it once yet?
Exactly, it's proving. I've done it twice. Because what I did notice, and I never said anything because I'm mean, is that on one of the levels, where you put the food out, the conveyor belt changes colour. So one's a red team, one's a blue team. And what I've noticed is that where you dish up those conveyor belts, they actually switch over during the level. So Nicola didn't notice, so she was actually putting stuff out for me, and I was getting more score, and I just underhanded, I know, but I did not say anything. And then there was one level where we were you had 3 chopping boards, and one was in the middle that you could use. So Nicola's there chopping, and she put a pizza there that was ready to be cooked, so I just took it. I just took a pizza. Oh my god!
I bet that went down well
for my life. Alright, just like so. After that, it was kind of right. Those are the rules that we play by. So we started to like steal each other's tomatoes and ground beef and stuff like that. It was just
all
so
fair
much
in
fun.
loving uncooked.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just gloves are off, aprons are on, and it's just like so. Yeah, though it's been great fun. I must the one thing. We were kind of previewing, and kind of the reviews are now open, and I've had a look around, and I've noticed a couple other people have said it as well, but I am finding it, whether it's just because of Nicola's awesome skills, but I am finding it somewhat easier than the first one. Maybe not easier, but maybe less tricky. There were some levels in the original Overcooked that really had Nicola and I like screaming at each other, because we were like playing it again and again and again to get those 3 stars. But we found that there was only a couple this time that really kind of perplexed us. There was the last level in the original Overcooked, the last final level, took us a couple of goes, and it's like 20 minutes to play through the entire thing. But this one only took us, I think, 1 go. I think we did it first time, or maybe did it like second time. So it was just, so we was like, I wonder if it's just like slightly more accessible.
Or maybe it's because you're seasoned Overcooked veterans. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. We've got more Michelin stars than someone with a lot of Michelin stars. So
insert famous chef here.
Yeah, I'll get that in the post-edit, Steve. Don't worry. It'll be seamless. Imagine we've got more Michelin stars than Gordon Ramsay. So I don't think he has any. But anyway, I'm absolutely loving it. I know you kind of put a call out yesterday, and unfortunately we just finished playing, but I'm looking forward to that group. If we can maybe do some levels together, I reckon that would just be so much fun.
Yeah, well, that's that would like just you're be saying, because they've got the online co-op and the online versus mode now, haven't they? So yeah, yes. So in absence of ruining the upcoming wedding, demolishing it already, it'll be test the friendship of the Sparks. That's with the Sea of Thieves tests it enough in terms of your expert handbrake usage. So let's see your expert sort of frying pan usage. Put that to the test. Put it to the test.
Yes, I love throwing the food, like throwing the food around. And when I'm playing versus with Nicola, if I'm kind of like waiting for something on the conveyor belt or something like that. I just ended up throwing food into her kitchen. It really makes me laugh. And I just kept throwing food, and then I unlocked an achievement for like throwing 100 ingredients. So there was actually an achievement for doing that, and it was just like, I was like, yes, I got an achievement. But that was really cool. But there's so much stuff in that game, and I really, like I say, it's one of those ones where I just really enjoy it. So we kind of ended up, we played it all together, kind of co-op. We played it through, and then Nicola then replayed on my gamer tag. I think I was saying last week while we were podding. So she's gone through it all, getting 3 stars on every level as well, you know. So it's just, and then we've unlocked all of the Kevin levels as well. And there's just different hidden criteria for all the different Kevin levels. So they're kind of like the bonus level on each level.
Yeah. Kevin's a dog, isn't it? A little dog. Right,
he is, yeah. He's a little dog, yeah. So it's and they're really good levels. They're really good. Have you? So if you've only done about 5, you haven't got to like the baking yet, where you kind of like make pancakes and stuff like that.
I haven't made it that far. The furthest I got was the sushi, where you've got the 3 components to make the sushi. And then you've got to clean the plates and retrieve the plates, and then I did kind of pause it midway though. I'm thinking, no, I can't do this. Then I powered through, and I'd probably call it the cheating way out, or the easy way out, because obviously it gives you the list of orders that you need to fulfill in the top left-hand corner. At one point, I was just focusing on just the fish on its own, just because I couldn't coordinate getting 3 ingredients on one plate. So I was like, I'll just take the easy way out. He can cook the fish, he can get the plates and clean the plates and bring them back for the fish, and then we'll just leave it at that. So yeah, I didn't quite get to the baking. So I know you said last week that you know there's the eggs and the flour and the baking, and I didn't quite get round to that because I feel that definitely needs 2 people. You know, 2 well coordinated people, a chef and a sous chef, just to fire cakes out and buns at people, and not end up burning the cake and end up with a soggy bottom or a dry cake.
Yes. Just on fire. I mean, the one of the things. I mean, I don't recommend it, Steve, because it will end up in kind of tears and bruises. But there is actually a way. If you notice, kind of on Overcooked, that you can actually play with one controller, and you can share a side of the controller each. Now, I have never dabbled in this, and I just can't, because I like to sit as far away from Nicola as I can, but, without kind of out of punching distance, so I know where her reach is, and I try and stay out of that. But you can actually play 2 people with one controller.
No, that just has disaster written all over it. It
really does. It's
on the Switch is fine. You can have a Joy-Con each. That'd be fine.
Yes.
But how do you even hold that? I
have no idea. I have no idea.
Obviously, because if you're both right-handed, for example, as well, someone's going to have to draw the short straw to play left-handed or something, and like you say, just constantly pulling the controller to one side and the other, no, get here, no, get away, it's mine. No, that's just got disaster written all over it. Not trying
exactly
that.
I don't want Overcooked to be the reason why you don't make it to Cornwall in 2020. That's superb. So what else speaking of Cornwall and pirates, what else have you been playing?
Seamless, absolutely seamless. Yes, so I've been dabbling, albeit very briefly, in the new Sea of Thieves update, trying to find and destroy some of the cursed sails. Me and one of my non-podcast related friends went and had a jump on. We just took a sloop out. We took a brigantine out the week before the update came out, just to test it, and just for 2 people, the brigantine's actually quite manageable, surprisingly. Like I think you were saying last week, obviously it's got the main sail and the little sail as well. But the design of it's, really, really easy, really manageable.
Yes.
And it shifts as well. It moves.
It really does.
It really moves. You know, I think it's probably quicker than the galleon, to be fair. So that moves. But we just took a sloop out, did a couple of quests, found a couple of chests and whatnot, and then we thought, should we see what it's about? Should we see, and should we go see what this is about? And the area for the cursed sails is in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, if memory serves right. I can't remember the island that it's just off of, but it's down in the kind of the bottom left-hand corner, and it's only on in certain areas between certain in-game dates.
Right.
So you have to check the date on your compass before you go down. But we were just kind of saying, are we in the right area? Are we? Aren't we? And just sailing about a bit, and then all of a sudden just spooky music plays and a ship comes out of the water, a galleon comes out of the water, and I'm like, maybe this wasn't a good idea.
Wow.
So we tried. We didn't get sunk, which I think was an achievement in itself, but we ended up turning around and just giving it legs and running away. I thought, not necessarily criticism, but I thought if you were in a sloop, it'd bring like a skelly sloop rather than a galleon, so it's comparable to what you're sailing in. But now a sloop versus galleon did not end well. Needless to say, obviously the cannonballs and things that fire at you are cursed, hence the title. The ones that make you seasick, so you vomit everywhere, and ones that make your ship go all sorts of crazy. So we decided that it's only something that you can really try with a full galleon, probably a brigantine at the absolute least. But yeah, I think it needs a full synchronized crew and a galleon to kind of take it on. So probably revisit it at a later time when we can get four people on and go from there. But much like you were saying last week, it's just so cool that they're bringing this out, and like you say, there's more coming next month as well. So it's just just utter fan service and just support for this game, and having 5 million players actually playing it when it kind of got, I think, quite a bit of unwarranted criticism at launch. Say that it got that criticism and people saying, no, it's average at best. An average at best game getting 5 million consecutive players, I think they take that. I think Rare would take that any day of the week. So yeah, I'm still enjoying it. I'm like you. I'm more of a gamer that usually needs a game with a point. So if I'm playing, it needs to have something for me to do and a reason for me to do it. But I think Sea of Thieves is just that game where you can, like you say, just come home, sail for a while. Just not even necessarily do anything or do any quests, just sail around and see the world. It's just that game just looks so good. In 4K and HDR, it just looks so nice. Just seeing a sunset over a sunset over the sea. It's just something else. So yeah, and when it's in Games Pass, you're stupid not to just have it there installed, ready to go, isn't it? So yeah, so
indeed,
that's kind of my
I think
at the moment.
Something like Cursed Sails, I think, is kind of, I think, the whole kind of point of that, and James has kind of jumped into the kind of the Sea of Thieves WhatsApp group that we have. They were talking about after kind of a night. I think they did a quest on Sunday night, and they were talking that they kind of paired up with other people in the world, and I think by doing that, I think that's kind of one of the things that so even if you are just in a sloop or a brigantine, that you try and pair up with other people to go, right, we're doing the Cursed Sails, so let's all go together, and then kind of get almost like a little armada. Which is why it would be awesome if you could then join up. While the Cursed Sails was on, it would be really good if, like, you in your, sloop with your friend could then join up with a couple of guys from the Sea of Thieves WhatsApp group, and then we could then just, like, all just kind of join up together and go, right, as a group we're doing it. And I think just, if it was like, just for 3 weeks, while you're doing that, you can now invite galleons into your game. That would have been, I think that would be awesome. It's probably a ginormous undertaking, but that would be fantastic, that you could coordinate a battle against that. You could have a maximum, even if it was like, right, in your armada you can only have one of each ship, so you can only have one sloop, one galleon, so that you can't overpower everyone with like 3 galleons and 12 people. You could just have one of each ship, and then you just took those. That would be cool. That's actually a really good idea. I've just came up there. You're welcome, Ray. So that would be a really cool idea to just be able to jump in. But yeah, no, I really want to. I think we've got another week of the Cursed Sails. And I think there's some scheduled for Friday and some scheduled for Sunday. So I'd like to jump in and have a bit of a go, just to witness what you saw. Just to see that skelly ship come out of the water, that must be pretty awesome. Yeah,
well, that's it. And it's the kind of the music sets in, and then you kind of like, well, where is it? Then you get just hurriedly looking round, and then it just all of a sudden just breaches like a massive whale out of the water, and then, like you say, cannons are firing, and then it tries to ram you and get at the side of you, and then you've got the crew shooting at you from the ship as well. So they're shooting the blunderbusses and the pistols at you as well. So I didn't actually get spend enough time close to it to see if they actually board or not, but if they did that, that'd be quite cool. If they can actually make an attempt to board the ship as well. But no, they certainly have every best concerted effort to try and see you at the bottom of the sea. So, yeah, so approach with caution. Yeah, no crazy handbrake turns when that appears.
Well, that's me out.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just watch it on Twitch. Yeah, I'll just watch it stream.
Yeah. I'll just get the guys to stream it, and I'll just watch that from afar. So, what else have you been playing?
Something that I've been dipping in and out of, sort of for the last couple of weeks, really, sort of a month as well. I've been revisiting Elder Scrolls Oblivion. So I can't remember if I asked this for Christmas as part of my sort of retro collection. So I said retro in inverted commas, for all of this. Well, it's 10 years ago now, isn't it? Nearly 10 years since that came out. Wow. So it's quite a while away. So I can't remember if I picked this up myself or asked for this as like a birthday or Christmas present. I can't remember, but yeah. Playing that via the backwards compatibility feature because it has got an Xbox One X enhancement as Oblivion as well. So albeit you can still tell it's a 360 game, because even with the bump, it looks shiny. It looks like the things have, the image has clearly been sort of cleaned up. It's a lot clearer, but the textures and things, you can tell it's a 360. It looks old, Just it's weird to think that when the 360 first came out, this was one of the games that was selling the 360. Because this is what the 360 can do. This is what HD graphics will look like. This is what the future is going to look like. And looking back at it now, it's like wow. Just over 10 years. Just look over the course of these last 10 years, how things have progressed from Oblivion to now. It's crazy. Yes. Even if you compare it against Skyrim, and then even going to like Fallout 4, which is probably the best looking game that the guys at Bethesda have done. In terms of the RPGs, it's crazy. It's really crazy, but it's still a great game. It's still such a vivid game. Still plenty to do in there. Still a lot of things to do. And the version I've got is the Game of the Year edition, so it's got like the Knights of the Nine, the Shivering Isles, that sort of thing as well. So it's the full edition, the full package. So I'm kind of dipping in and out of that at the minute. I'm not kind of spending a lot of time in there because I find it's hard to go back to a game and sink a lot of time into it. Because games change and it's graphics aren't everything, but I feel there's only so long that you can spend looking at a game that's a lot sort of lower quality, shall we say, than what we used to. So, but yeah, it's still really good. It's still so good, albeit like I say, the voice actors, there's about 5 voice actors in that game, so every NPC has one of 5 voices. The facial animations are all jarred and what have you, but it's still a great game. It's still a great game. The story in it, and like I say, the characters and the missions that you have in there, it's still such a great game. So it's it's like I said, it looks nice enough. It looks, you can tell it's got an enhancement for the Xbox One X, but there's only so much you can do with base assets, isn't there? So I think they've done as good a job as they can do. But I like it. It was probably one of my favourite games of that generation, purely because it was one of the the flagship games that came with a console, and I had the special edition one when it came out with kind of the handbook, it's got like the fake Imperial gold coin, things like that. So back when I was a young whippersnapper, Antony, I was looking 10 years ago when I was like looking 16 now, that sort of time. So yeah, back in my youth. So
nice.
Yeah, it's nice to go back.
Indeed. Yeah. No, absolutely. I remember playing that when the Xbox, it was the Xbox 360, wasn't it? So when the Xbox 360 came out, I remember kind of getting that, kind of picking mine up on a midnight launch and then kind of taking it back and the games I was playing. And it was so funny because I got back from the midnight launch really late, and then all I could do was just kind of like look at open the box, got the Xbox 360 out, was like, oh, that's so lovely, and then I went to bed. But then I woke up like early, I had the next day off because this was like Thursday night, and then I had the next day off to just play it and then kind of like spend about the first 4 hours trying to get it online. It was like, it's completely different to like compared to when I got the X a while ago, where you just plug it in and it just does everything for you. It's just like, even, you've got settings in the cloud, I'll just do that for you. It's so different now, but it's good to go back and play those games. I was listening to a podcast today and they were talking about Dreamcast, and I was just, if I get some time over the weekend, I might grab my Dreamcast out and just have a quick kind of play, because the stuff they were talking about was giving me that nostalgic pang that you're talking about there, Steve. Just to kind of like get it out and just kind of play, some of those old games that I really enjoyed, because similar to the Xbox 360, I remember kind of like release day going down to Electronics Boutique and getting my Dreamcast, and then just like coming home and being surrounded by great games, And so I was thinking this weekend on Sunday, I've got some spare time on Sunday. I might go and get the Dreamcast and have a game.
Yeah, when the 360 first came out, we got ours from Game, and it was at the time when the only way you could get your hands on one was to buy one of those ridiculous packages that came with like 10 games at the time. I don't know if you remember. So we kind of played Game at their own game, really. So we bought the console with all the games, and we took the games back individually. So I can't remember if we traded them in or got a refund on them. I can't remember which we did, but either way, because they were still quite new, you got pretty much full price back for them. So in the end, it was pretty much just like buying the console. So we kept a couple of games that we were bothered about, So, but like at the time, I think it came out. There's like King Kong that came out for it and things like that. So those sort of things.
Yes.
we got rid of, but kept like Call of Duty 2, that sort of thing. But God, I remember getting that. The first console. Yeah. But funnily enough, the Dreamcast, the only console that I've never really had. I never had a Dreamcast.
Oh, right.
No.
Right.
So in my games room, I've got the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. But no, the Dreamcast is something that I never had. So
right.
I have thought about buying one, to be fair, because you can get relatively cheap these days, and the games aren't too bad. But not having that attachment to it kind of makes it kind of like, well, would I use it, sort of thing? Because I grew up kind of my sort of heyday, shall we say, was with the sort of the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube generation. So I'd hammered the life out of my PS2 when I had it. Playing the GTA games and everything on the PS2, so Gran Turismo, that sort of thing. So I'm kind of slowly building a collection for the PS2 and the Xbox and the GameCube. But beyond that, the Dreamcast kind of has an appeal to me, but not as much as sort of the other ones. I think its lifespan was quite limited, really, in terms of the other consoles as well, wasn't it? Because it kind of wasn't really as powerful as the other ones, was it? It was kind of a bit hit and miss. I know it had like Shenmue, which kind of, it's classed as one of the sort of the best games ever, really, isn't it? But again, I've never played Shenmue because I never had the Dreamcast. So when these sort of remakes are coming out of it, of people losing their minds over it, I'm like, well, I don't know. Okay, yeah. But it's nice to just, like you say, even if you have half an hour, just to, like for me, to just go back to like Time Splitters, or something, just to go back to one of the older Call of Duty games, just to see how things have progressed, over such a short space of time, and it's really is harder times back in that day, no auto saving, no checkpoints, none of this, if you forget to save it, you go back to the beginning, it's a hard life. It's a hard life.
Yes, there was no online demos.
No.
But we did get demos. We did get demos with magazines, which is always great. I used to love getting my PlayStation, getting a PlayStation or the official Dreamcast magazine. There was a magazine for the Saturn for a while, and it was good times. I used to love that, getting that disc and then kind of like playing those games. It was amazing. It was absolutely superb.
Yeah, it was a different time, a better time.
Yes. It was a good time. It was good. So have you been playing anything else apart from tripping down memory lane with Oblivion?
No, that's it, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What about you, sir? What's needless to say, you've been chefing it up large still, I'm guessing.
Yep, so like I said, we finished that, but we're still playing, still trying to, like I say, I think I've got 5. I've got to beat Nicola 5 more times, so I guess I'll still be playing that at Christmas. I was thinking about just kind of when she goes to bed, just like have her Xbox powered on, and then just like kind of just beat it, playing against nothing, just so I have that achievement. Because I've got there's only 2 achievements that I'm missing from getting all of the achievements in Overcooked. Getting the 1,000. There's just 2, and one of them is Nicola is the obstacle. That's not the name of the achievement. That is just the obstacle. So we've been playing a lot of that. And then I've been kind of like jumping around because I woke up I'm still kind of flitting. I know I can feel feel that it's finishing soon. With Spider-Man is less than a month away, so which is a game that I just cannot wait to play. We obviously got Forza Horizon is coming, so I woke up on Sunday morning and I knew we weren't doing anything, and I was like, right, I'm going to play Horizon Zero Dawn. Never finished it, and I'm going to start from the start. I'm going to play it from the start again. I got like an hour in, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to play something else. There's something about that game that I want to love it. I really want to love it, but and my PlayStation controller started coming up going, low battery. So I was just like, I'll go over to the Xbox. So I went over to the Xbox, and there was a trial as part of EA Access. Madden 19 is now available for a 10-hour trial. I think it comes out in a couple of weeks' time, but there's if you're part of the EA Access, you get access to Madden early. So and that includes this 10-hour trial. So I downloaded Madden, made some breakfast and stuff, and then while Madden was downloading, and then I sat and played Madden for a while. And it's I'm not that great at it, but excuse me, I was really enjoying it. I was really enjoying playing Madden. So I was just going through the exhibition mode. I had a quick go of the campaign that's there, where you kind of there's a story mode. So I had a quick go of that, which I was really enjoying. And for the first time, it was just like Madden was clicking with me. It was just I was really enjoying it. It looks stunning. When you're playing it, I was playing as the San Francisco 49ers, and their stadium is just incredible. It is the 49ers, yeah. Yeah, it's just the face you pulled.
Somebody has to play as them.
Yeah, I guess. I was just like, I'll play as San Francisco. I thought I got it wrong then. I was just like, oh no, I'm such a noob. But I was playing them, and I was just really enjoying it. So I was listening to a podcast. So it was almost like replaced my kind of Forza, and I just kind of was listening to a podcast, playing Madden, and before I knew it, a good couple of hours had kind of skipped by, and I was just really having some fun with it, and it wasn't too overwhelming. I was just really enjoying. Like I say, I wasn't doing a league. I was just doing exhibition modes and playing the campaign. But I was happily just flip-flopping between those, and whenever the campaign was getting maybe kind of a little bit taxing, I just jumped back into exhibition mode. So, and I don't think I think I've still got some time left. I know there was a bit of an issue where when you were playing Madden and you turned it off, the internal clock was still counting, but I think they've fixed that now, so you do have a proper 10 hours of gameplay. So hopefully I have still got like a good 7 hours left to play, because I definitely want to go back, and I'm thinking about, I don't know whether to get it or just wait for it to become available in EA Access, or just play Madden 18, because it doesn't really matter to me. It was just, they had a thing where when you fired it up, it said, do you want the latest roster? So I just said yes, and did that. But I can't believe how stunning it looks, how incredible it all kind of really looks, and kind of go. But talking about nostalgia, it's like I remember playing on the Mega Drive. I remember playing that and FIFA, and then where we are now to where we are there, and it's just incredible. So yeah, I was really, for someone who dips into Madden probably as a demo, this time for some reason Madden 19 has really just kind of hooked. And I was really enjoying it.
Yeah, I must admit, cause I am a massive sports fan, and I did sort of at uni, but sports games just never ever appealed to me. I'd never play FIFA. There's just something about it that, just go outside and play football. Just go get a ball, kick a ball, just go outside. But I must admit, Madden games, I do like that. I mean, I'm quite a sort of a big NFL fan. I've kind of grown and grown in my interest in the NFL for the last sort of 5 or 6 years. But it's the one sort of sporting game that I can play and I can enjoy. Yes. And like you say, I think it was 18 that I played last time. I think it was when I had an active EA membership, when it was on there. They look really good. It's just,
yes.
I think for somebody who doesn't know much about American football and wants to get into it, the best thing to do is play Madden first. Because you learn a lot more about playing it than just sitting and watching it. Because when you sit and first watch a game of American football, you're like, what the hell is going on here? And I do get the people saying, oh, it's too much stop start, too many adverts, blah blah blah. But obviously you don't get that in the game. But then you learn positional plays, what positions do, why people do it, the tactics behind it, the formations, the the times, the quarters, the penalties, everything. So I think it's a really good sort of educational tool as much as anything. But no, I haven't got an active EA membership at the moment. But certainly it'll be something that I, at the very least, rent from Boomerang. Just to give it a whirl, because like you say, it's just something you can just play, and again, yes, there's a point to it, but you can just, for somebody who's not a massive sort of sports fan, or serious gamer, quote unquote, you can just sit and play it. Just have a couple of matches, a couple of games, because obviously a game won't last the full length of a game. It lasts, depending on what settings you play on. Just needs to get him to play, and just a whatever team you're playing, whatever mode it is. Like you say, they've added the sort of the story mode now, like FIFA has, hasn't it? So, if you want to make your own character, see them through the career sort of thing, that option is there. So yeah, it'll be something that I do get at some point. But yeah, like you say, it is up and coming because the football season is imminent now. The Premier League starts this week, and I think the American football season starts at the start of September, I think.
Wow.
So yeah, so it is, it is impending. It feels a long time since the Super Bowl. It's a long, long time ago since.
Yes. That was February, wasn't it?
February. Yeah, since Philadelphia spoilt the party. But yeah, it's been a long few months. So yeah, can't wait.
Wow,
can't wait.
No, I mean, let's say it would really kind of scratch the itch. I've just downloaded Dead Cells, which is that kind of roguelike Castlevania 2D kind of side-scrolling game. Matt, he's loving it. So I think he's playing it at the moment on Xbox and absolutely loving it. So I've just downloaded it on my Switch. I've got a couple of trips to London. I'm in London kind of Friday, Monday, and I've got to go to Manchester on Tuesday. So I've got some consecutive kind of back-to-back train travel. So I thought I'll give Dead Cells a punt, and so I've downloaded on the Switch, and so that's kind of downloading right now. My Switch is in the dock, charging, ready for tomorrow morning to kind of like fire that up and have a play. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll speak more about that next week. But yeah, so that was it really, kind of like Madden. Still jumping in, playing a little bit of Forza, playing Forza Motorsports, kind of playing Forza Motorsport 7 and a bit of Horizon 2, and even jumped into Horizon 3 as well, just like kind of like scratching of those kind of multiple itches. Exactly. I really enjoyed 2 the other day, so I thought I'd just jump back into 3, see if there's any achievements I can mop up there to kind of improve my Forza Hub score. But yeah, so it's been, I'm like I say, I'm getting back in. The lull, you can see the lull kind of finishing, ending. I think Spider-Man's going to kind of properly end that, so I've pre-ordered that now. So that's pre-ordered and kind of sitting there waiting on the PS4, kind of on the PS4 media bar, waiting to be played. So I've got about, I don't know, less than kind of 27 days, I think the clock was last time I looked, to before that kind of game unlock. So I cannot wait for that. Yeah. That's going to be absolutely superb.
I think Spider-Man's become the new Batman for you, hasn't it? We couldn't go a podcast without mentioning Batman. It's now Spider-Man every time. It's like Spider-Man.
It's like Spider-Man. Yeah. Spider-Man and the Water Towers. Yeah. That's the name of that should be the name of my next rock band group. Spider-Man and the Water Towers. No, yeah, absolutely. No, I think part of the Spider-Man, the draw to Spider-Man is because I'm missing a Batman game. When I've had this lull, I've been very close to kind of downloading Return to Arkham, and if Return to Arkham had Arkham Origins, which was that kind of one game not done by Warner Brothers, not done by Rocksteady, I would have, if that was in that, I would have got that, because I never really finished that game, and that's always one that really kind of irks me, that I never finished that game. But yeah, I've been very close to just kind of either playing Arkham City again or Arkham Knight, and just kind of going through those. But I think Spider-Man's going to kind of scratch that itch, so like I say, I'm very excited. So should we jump into the news? We've got quite a bit actually this week. It's quite cool.
Yeah, it's a bumper edition.
A bumper week. But before we get into the news, don't forget you can rate, review and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes and also on YouTube. So in the news section this week, Red Dead 2's gameplay has been revealed. We have the death of Luigi. You can hear James crying right now. And also PlayStation celebrates a huge milestone. But the first piece of news, Steve, is with you.
Yes, so this probably couldn't have been timed any better, really. We kind of flagged this down last night as it was announced that today we saw some actual gameplay footage from the upcoming Red Dead Redemption 2, which I think I said this in the WhatsApp group last night, is probably one of the few games that I'm actually really, really excited about. It's one of the few things that I'm actually quite hyped for. I don't really tend to get hyped about things these days. That and probably Forza Horizon 4, I think, are the only two games that I'm really, really hotly anticipating. But yeah, we finally got to see some gameplay footage after it's been delayed, and thankfully at the end of this trailer we got the reassurance that it's still coming out in October. So just over 2 months away. So it's not long now. It's coming out just before the Christmas rush. But yeah, it looks stunning, doesn't it? Just the seeing actual gameplay footage, and you can tell it's actual gameplay footage as well. You can tell it's not cinematics. You can see that it's clearly from running in time, in game. I don't think it says what it's actually running on, unless I missed that. But either way, you could easily see that running on the X, couldn't you, or the PS4 Pro?
Yes.
You could easily see that happening. But yeah, they're releasing these sequentially. So at the end of towards the end, it says, we'll be releasing future videos about, more about the missions, the world, what else you can do, sort of thing. But just seeing that video is enough for me. If I was already getting it anyway. But if you were undecided, just watch that video. You just need to see how beautiful that world looks, and if anything, again, probably looking back, because I've got Red Dead Redemption, the first one's downloaded on my X, just looking back at that,
right.
Just look at the quality of the first one. It's
yes.
You'd like to say it's got to be good, hasn't it? But these things, like, you don't want to get too excited and overexcited about them. But no, from what they showed, it just looks not more of the same, but they're keeping everything that made Red Dead Redemption 1 great, and they're just going from there, just building on it from there. Yeah. So yeah, not too many details. We found out that the name of the gentleman slips me, but we found out who you are, who you're playing as, a bit more about him, the reasons you're doing what you're doing. But again, it's, the settings in that time of American history where change is happening. They're going from an uncivilized, sort of west to a civilization, where people are coming in from England, Ireland, other countries, settling in their country. And small outposts are turning into big cities. They're getting electricity, motor cars are coming in. So it's that where outlaws kind of becoming a thing of the past. So it looks really, really good. And there's quite clearly a path for this game, because I don't know if you noticed in the video, it says every camp that you go to as you travel. So there's quite clearly a path for this game to take you through and across America. Which will be really good to see if it's done like a GTA is, where it's kind of not 3 islands obviously, but 3 territories. So you start in the west, in the desert, you move to the mountains, and you move to the snowy mountains, from the sort of the swamps to the snow, or if it's just the case they are separate areas themselves. But in the video it does say every camp that you go to is kind of your base, where you can speak to your gang members, you can play card games, you can gamble, find stories, brawl, that sort of thing. So in terms of how the progression is, it'll be interesting to see how it works, but that certainly gives sort of a little sort of clue or indicator how it will sort of push you across the world. But it'll be good to see how big this world actually is, and like I say, whether these different sections are kind of held in separate sort of areas, so there's a new loading area, or if it is just a seamless transition from desert to swamp to mountain to snow. It'll be interesting to see what it is, or if it's seasonal, if it's a case of you play through different seasons. But yeah, I love it already. I just want it now. Give me it now.
It's really funny actually, because I was slightly lukewarm, where I was like, this game looks fantastic, I'll probably wait. I wasn't that excited about it. I was like, yeah, I probably won't get it day one, I'll probably just get it later, there's other games that are coming out, etc. And then I saw that gameplay trailer and the gameplay reveal tonight, and I was it went from I'm okay, I'm glad this game is coming out, I'm looking, it's going to be good, to I need this game. It was just looked absolutely incredible. I love they had the Deadeye mode, which means that you can then go into aiming, you can highlight multiple enemies, and then you just kind of come out and you just kind of shoots them almost from the hip with a revolver. I just love that. I just thought that was absolutely fantastic, and it looks stunning. It's really funny, because when you play like the Red Dead Redemption, you kind of, it looked great. The horse looked good, and you kind of had the animal across the back of the horse if you kind of caught an animal, but it never really kind of it looked like the animal, but it was just very much a game representation of that. Where this one just looks stunning. It looks photorealistic on so many points, and it just looks fantastic. Polygon have got a really good article about everything we know about Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'll put a link in the show notes. But the character that you primarily play as is a character called Arthur Morgan.
Right.
So he's the kind of, and there was that shot where you got Arthur kind of sitting around a campfire, and it's just so in typical kind of Rockstar fashion. It's so cinematic. It's so just kind of, it was slowly panning around, and the fire was looking fantastic. You know, I don't know if that was running on a high-end PC, but as you say, I just hope that the Xbox One X and the PlayStation Pro can kind of deliver quality visuals like that, because it was awesome.
Yeah.
It just looked absolutely just stunning, and I was blown away by it. There was bears, there was so much in that trailer, but you know, similar to you, I'm just, the next one they were like, in the next playable thing we'll talk about missions, and I was like, no, I'm done now. I don't need to see any more. You know, I've got games keeping me occupied up until the release date, and then I'm happy to just go, yep. That's 6 minutes, and we'll stick a link in the show notes just in case you haven't seen it. But I'll put this Polygon article, which is everything you need to know, and also the 6 minute gameplay trailer as well. I'm trying to find, before we podded, I watched the IGN's copy of it, I think, or it might have even been Rockstar's copy. But what I was trying to find was a 4K version.
Right.
So even what I was watching was like a 1080p on a 4K TV, but I want to find that 4K version because I'm sure it exists. So I'd love to find that just to kind of have a look and see just even more how more stunning that looked, you know, in kind of 4K. And then you've got HDR on top of that as well, which is going to make all of those gorgeous sunsets and sunrises kind of look like the amazing ones in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, well that's it, and it has to look good, you know, in some variety, like say, regardless of if it doesn't look precisely like that, you know, if it's not a case of, you know, that it looks something like that running on, like say, the X with the HDR and the 4K, you know, looking at what we've got now, you know, it's got to be on par or better than that, surely. You know, if you think probably some of, I haven't seen it, but if you think some of the better looking games out there at the moment are sort of like Horizon Zero Dawn running in 4K, you know, and things like The Witcher, you know, running in 4K, that sort of thing, you know, if it must be on sort of level with them or slightly better, you know. So they've had how many years working on this now? You know, they've pushed it back twice. Is it now twice? I think they've pushed it back.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's
so.
Twice.
You know, so they've got the extra time, and I'm fine with that because I'd rather them do that than, you know, rush it out and bodge it. You know, and I'm happy that it's still coming out and it's, you know, it's still happening this year. That's the main thing. People thought, oh, it's going to go to October, then it'll go to next year, and But you know, I think Rockstar are quite good on the promises most of the time. You know, it's not very often that we see Rockstar doing something like that. So you know, you kind of have to trust them that they're doing it for the right reasons. Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the GTAs in recent history have been affected by either a delay or a significant delay, have they? I'm not sure off the top of my head. But it's not something that we see huge things from usually from them, is it? I don't think.
No, they normally just set dates quite far out, don't they? They normally just kind of. I think each one. I think kind of 4 and 5 have both had like one delay. Yeah. I think they've always kind of like, no, we're not coming out in May. We're now coming out in September, or whatever. But I have kind of seen that. But you know that Rockstar, they're not a studio that would rush something out. If they feel that it needs another 6 months, they would happily, you know, in September, if they were like, no, Red Dead Redemption 2 is not ready, you know, we're going to push it till next year, they would do that because they have a quality level. You know, they make so much money because everybody wants those games, you know, and they will push something back just for that quality mark. So I think you can guarantee that it's going to be full of quality. You know, it's going to be a quality game. It's not going to be bodged. It's not going to be a huge day one patch. You know, it's all of that judging from Rockstar's kind of previous track record, that there's always going to be a quality game there.
Yeah, well that's it. And they've got, not that they can rest on the laurels, but you know, they've got GTA Online still running, haven't they? Which is still huge for them. You know, that's just a massive revenue earner for them. So like you say, not that it's an excuse at all, but whereas for some studios, delaying the game would hit them quite significantly financially by not releasing it sort of like the Christmas window. But for them, like you say, them if it's not ready, it's not ready. It does affect them, but it doesn't in a way. So yeah, so like you say, you know that you're getting a better game for it, not just a case of it's not quite ready. So yeah, we don't want to compete with Call of Duty this year, so we'll put it there. But yeah, with Rockstar, you know it's worthwhile.
Absolutely, and it's interesting seeing that, like, kind of Call of Duty and Battlefield and all of those titles are actually kind of moving out the way. You know, they're actually getting out the way of Red Dead Redemption 2 because they know that it's going to be such a large game, such a monster when it comes out. That, you know, I was looking through the coming soon on Xbox Dash the other day, and it's really interesting to see. You've got some games that are coming out kind of late September, early October, and then everything else is like 2019. You know, everything's just kind of getting out of the way because they know that that's going to be the game that people want. You know, that's going to be the game that people want to play. And obviously you've got Call of Duty, which is all online this year, so you've got kind of like kids getting that for Christmas and stuff. But the main game, I think the game that we're probably all going to be playing in our Christmas break is going to be Red Dead. You know, that's going to be the one that we're going to be playing.
Yeah, that's it. Like you say, when people like, you know, EA and Activision are worried about Call of Duty and FIFA launching at the same window, you know it's a big game, you know, because, you know, like you say, they're guaranteed sales every year, aren't they? You know, for kids around the world. But when even they're worried about Red Dead Redemption launching or a Rockstar game launching, you know, it's something to be reckoned with, you know. And if you just look at the sales of GTA 5 when it re-released on the Xbox One and the PS4, you know, that's probably sold just as many, if not more, than when it first came out on the 360 and the PS3. So, you know, that just goes to show, doesn't it, you know, that people will buy something from Rockstar. You know, people will buy it. And hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, maybe we'll see sort of remakes or re-releases of, you know, GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. But we'll see. We'll see.
Indeed, they should just farm that out to someone else. One can continue making these ginormous games and just kind of farm that out to other studios. Some studios, there's a studio whose name slips me right now, is really good at remakes. They're the ones who did Shadow of the Colossus and things like that. You know, they should be able to just take that, strip down the assets, and just kind of remake that. And that would be fantastic. Yeah. But I think, you know, Red Dead is going to be ginormous this year. It's going to be really interesting to kind of see, just see kind of how big it's going to be.
Yeah. How big's that world? How big is it going to be?
Yes, it's going to be ginormous. And speaking of ginormous games, another ginormous game has been they had another update on a ginormous game, and for some people this game is just absolutely huge, and that is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Edition, I believe it's called. So we had a Nintendo reveal happened, or a Nintendo Direct happened yesterday, going through even more characters, and they actually announced that they had more characters to show. But more importantly, and I teased it at the top when we were talking about the news, the trailer. Did you watch the Direct? Did you watch the start of this Direct?
No, I haven't, and I know I shouldn't be overly negative, but I think people are probably, if they listen to remember my my E3 feelings towards Nintendo and Smash Brothers, it's just they've milked this beyond belief. You know, there's just so much milking going on. So I haven't watched it. You know, if I probably catch it at some point, I will do. But for me, it just. I might play it, I might not. It's just
it's a boomerang.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's a boomerang. Yeah. It's, you know, you've got some friends coming round. It's one that would be really good on like couch co-op. Yeah. But so just to kind of recap, so this Nintendo Direct happened. It starts with Luigi. You know, Spark favorite Luigi. He's there in what looks like Luigi's mansion. You see him just kind of walking nervously around the mansion, and then suddenly a Castlevania big baddie just appears with a scythe. Looks like death. And just slices Luigi.
Really?
Just takes a slice at Luigi. So much so that there's all this stuff coming out of Luigi. It's not blood. Luigi's inside of Luigi's grey. And it's just like and then Luigi's ghost floats away. And there's this image of just Luigi just like falling back and his ghost just flying away out of his body. And then, without a blink of an eyelid, without a worry, without a care, they then introduce Simon Belmont. So Simon Belmont slides in with his big whip, and Simon Belmont is one of the main protagonists of Castlevania. So he kind of slides in, and then they just announce that both of the Belmont brothers Richter and Simon are both going to be in Smash. So they just kind of like started this direct with a couple of more characters. So we've got Simon Belmont, we've got Richter Belmont, and then they kind of went through. I kind of skipped. There were some more things that they were talking about. There was Dracula's Castle. They actually announced that there's going to be 103 stages in Smash. So there's actually just going to be 103 different levels for Smash. And then they also announced that there's going to be Chrom is another playable character, and he's from Fire Emblem. Dark Samus is also going to be in from Metroid, and they also announced that we're going to have Donkey Kong's King K. Rool is also going to be in there as well. So they announced 5 more characters, taking the roster up to probably I think about 70 now. So there's about 70 characters, 103 levels, and they just kind of threw everything at this direct.
Yeah. And it's there's a lot there, isn't there? You know, I'm just looking at the sort of the article that we've got on our sort of pod document. You know, there's clearly a lot in there for, you know, it's ultimate fan service, isn't it? You know, for, you know, sorry to use the word ultimate when it's called the Ultimate Edition, but, you know, like you say, with the amount of levels and the amount of characters that are in there, you know, this is the ultimate, you know, the complete version of Smash Brothers that there could ever possibly be, you know. But they're just resting on the laurels with this one a little bit, aren't they? You know, in terms of this seems to be their be all and end all for this year. You know, this just seems to be Nintendo for this year. You know, and this, you know, they always have like the year of Luigi, shall we say, or the year of whatever. And if it was a new one, yeah, then fair enough. But it is kind of a new one, but then it's got everything from the old games as well, hasn't it? So, you know, it's kind of new but old at the same time. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've just watched that start of that trailer whilst you've been talking there, and it's menacing for Nintendo, that, isn't it? You know, it's
scary. It's scary. I mean, Nintendo did tweet out later on that night, just basically saying, "Don't worry, Luigi is okay."
No Luigis were harmed in the making of this video.
Yeah, exactly. So Luigi is not dead. James can rest. We can rest. You know, he can breathe
James
again.
Was in pieces after that.
Exactly, you know. So yeah. So they did say that Luigi is fine. But it just looked really good, you know. And the fact that they have these kind of 103 levels, it's coming out the 7th of December, and for Europe only at the moment, they're announcing an Ultimate Limited Edition bundle, which comes with a copy of the game, a Nintendo GameCube controller, and also a controller adapter as well, so you can play. I think you can play up to 4 of these controllers in there, but they have this kind of limited edition black Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Edition controller. The box looks great. You know, it looks like really cool. It's got all of the characters kind of lined up. I do love that picture. I think we used it once as our pod cover for an episode, but it's very cool. But yeah, so they've got that, and then they teased just one more mode that they blurred out what this one last mode is going to be. So there's obviously there's against there's against NPCs, there's couch co-op, there's you know, lots of different modes, but then they kind of kept one, which kind of, when I was reading the article and looking at online today, there's a lot of speculation that this might be like a boss battle mode, so you play as like big boss battles, but they haven't unveiled that yet, and I guess they're probably waiting for maybe a little bit closer to the game's launch.
Yeah, another Smash Brothers Direct. Let's
another one.
Let's release another mode. Yay! Yeah, so
let's show you what's behind that little blurry cube.
But yeah,
I mean,
sorry, I'm going to say that control does look really nice, and you know that edition that's coming out, you know, and I made a jibe at Stuart in the WhatsApp group, say if you squint really hard, it looks like an Xbox controller. So, you know, I'm sure you'd be tempted to buy it. You know, so, you know, as far as Nintendo go, I think they do sort of, you know, special editions and things quite well. You know, and like you say, I think, you know, with the GameCube controller, the adapter, it's not really, you know, helping the rumours that eventually we'll see GameCube compatibility on the Switch. You know, that doesn't really sort of help quash those rumours. So whether or not that's still kind of a thing or not was yet to see. But you'd think so. We're kind of adding like GameCube controller support, wouldn't you? But yeah, it's it looks like a nice edition, certainly for somebody who wants to spend, you know, that amount of money on it. But like you say, for me, it's just a rental. Give it a whirl. You know, play a few rounds on it. because again, Smash Brothers has not really been a massive thing for me. I had it on the GameCube when the Smash Bros. Brawl came out. So I'm familiar with it, but I don't rave about it like a lot of sort of the people out there do. But yeah, it's like I say, it's Nintendo's thing this year, isn't it? It's their big, hopefully, moneymaker anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we've still got Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu, Pokemon Go. So we've still got that. But yeah, I think it's the kind of it's the biggie, isn't it, this year? So that's coming out right at the end of the year. But it is the big one. So hopefully, maybe kind of next year we get kind of more kind of. We get Animal Crossing because that's what we really want. Yeah. So it's just like so. But yeah, so that's coming out on the 7th of December, and looks like I say that Ultimate Edition looks really impressive. So Steve, speaking of really impressive editions, we're on
fire this evening.
The next piece of news is with you.
Yes, like you say, moving on to another special milestone, special edition. Sony are commemorating their 500 millionth sale of the PS4 with a commemorative version of the PS4 Pro, which just 500 million units in itself is just a ridiculous figure, isn't it? 500 million consoles sold. That is a ridiculous amount. So, hats off to Sony for that, for reaching such a milestone. And they are, like I say, they're commemorating and coinciding that milestone with a 2 terabyte PS4 Pro 500 million limited edition version, which is translucent. So it's dark blue, but it's translucent, so you can actually see ever so slightly through the plastic casing of it. And I must admit, I'm not a massive fan of special edition consoles, much like the awful Amazing Spider-Man one. But yes, this...
Hey.
I'd like the look of this thing. This looks really nice. I'm glad when I first saw translucent... Oh.
That was me. Oh, that was I'm such a Ricky. I'm such a Ricky. Carry on, Steve. No one noticed that.
We'll edit that out. We'll edit it out. But yeah, when it comes to sort of like the see-through editions, or when it's translucent, I get concerned because they had. Is it the PS4 where they've had the clear plastic controller? Am I right in saying that? Have they done that? I can't remember if they did or not. But
I don't know.
For me, it's like, why do I want to see inside it? Why do it need to be see-through? Because the original Xbox had one, didn't they? They had a nice version of the original Xbox where you could see through it. It's like, why do you need to see inside it? But yeah, I think this...
The N64 had a really good one.
Yeah, the
green one.
Was it green one? Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, this I think looks really nice. I think it looks really sleek. Like it's dark blue. It's ever so slightly transparent, so you can see through it ever so slightly, as you can the controller as well. That's made out of the same plastic. But yeah, it's going to be $449.99 in the UK, with only 50,000 actually being available. So it is actually a limited edition, and not a case of it's a limited edition, but then they'll just keep releasing more and more and more. But yeah, this is actually limited, so I think it's going to be one of them things that if you buy it and you keep hold of it, price will just go up quite quickly, because I imagine people won't be getting their hands on one of these quite readily. So yeah, but it's got a unique limited edition number etched on it. So it's kind of, it is yours, and you've got the number of which one it is, and you can actually buy the controller. There will be a controller which you can buy separately, which is a shame. It's not. Again, it's not an Xbox One for Stuart. But yeah, that's going to be priced at $54.99 separately for the controller. But there's also a separate gold wireless headset for the 500 millionth set as well, which is $77.99. So that's all systems go. So yeah, I think these are going to be available. To pre-order from tomorrow, the 10th, as we're recording tonight.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just trying to hurriedly through it to see when the actual release date is, but I can't see it. But yeah, from what I can see, it's on pre-order from the 10th, but I can't actually see a date. Oh no, sorry, it's pre-order from the 14th of August, sorry, not the 10th, the 14th of August, but I can't actually see an actual date when these things will actually be released, so I'm not entirely sure if there is a date or if it's a case of that it's
24th of August.
Right, okay. So yeah, so it's not far away. Not far at all, is it really? Like I say, as we're recording on the 9th, so just, imminently, one would say, imminently. But
yes.
yeah.
So as you're listening to this pod on Tuesday at 10 a.m. in the UK, this will go on sale the 14th of August, and then it's available 10 days later.
Yeah.
So the 2 terabyte, because the PS4 Pro that's out now, that's just 1 terabyte, isn't it?
Yeah. So you are getting, a step up as well. So you're getting the extra storage space as well. So it is an upgrade, if for want of a better phrase. So you are getting the benefit of the extra storage there. So it is something if you're short on space, if you do buy digitally, it's still. Something to improve on. So yeah, so it's like I say, it's a really nice looking console. Because I'm not a fan of these special editions. There's very few that I have actually liked in the past. But if I was going to buy one, I would buy that one. But for me, kind of Xbox is my home at the moment. So I think I'm much like you. The PS4 just kind of sits there. Usage is more of a Blu-ray player and using for Sky at the moment more than anything. I've got God of War still sitting there to be played. But if I was going to get a Pro, that would be the one that I would buy if I were able to get my hands on it.
It looks very cool. I do like the fact that the kind of see-through, the translucent. You can see the fan spinning. Yeah. I quite like that. It's quite nice. It's quite cool. I do quite like that. That's very lovely. No, I hadn't heard about that. So that's 500 million PlayStations across, I guess, all 4 platforms. So from PlayStation 1 all the way through to PlayStation 4.
Yeah. So
that's a hefty sales figure.
It's an incredible feat, isn't it? Like you say, it's across all, like I say, even across 4 sort of generations, it's still, a massive achievement. Like I say, for that. I think it says the actual figure is 525.3 million. So that's since the first PlayStation went on sale in 1994. The PS4 sold over 81.2 million units, which that on its own is ridiculous. 81.2 million PS4s as of July. So hats off to Sony. Big plaudits to them for actually achieving that number. And long may it continue. It's kind of makes you wonder how that number will be affected in the future with sort of Microsoft going sort of potentially the internet route or just digital route in terms of accessing their sort of games in the future via the internet as opposed to disc media. So it'll be interesting to see how their future lies with the next the PlayStation, which inevitably will probably be the PS5, surely.
Fantastic, superb. No, that looks really nice. Wow. You imagine it's really interesting because PlayStation haven't been great with their special edition kind of PlayStations, but now they've kind of got the Spider-Man one, which is lovely. I don't care what you say. It's lovely. And also that one, that's really cool. I like the gold etching. It's a bit gaudy, but it's awesome. It's really nice. It looks really cool.
Well, that's it. For something that's commemorative like that, you want it to be of a decent quality and look nice, don't you? You don't want it to look cheap, which it doesn't, thankfully. So, like you say, the dark blue matches the goldy copper sort of plaques and detailing on there quite nicely. So it looks like quite a lot of thought and effort's gone into the design of it. So it's a nice thing for collectors. Something that looks not too outlandish, not too garish. So it's a nice one. It's a nice one.
Right, the next piece of news is with me, and that is that Ubisoft, this week, Ubisoft have announced that both Child of Light and also Valiant Hearts are going to they're heading to the Switch, and they're both coming out this year. So they announced a date for Valiant Hearts. So Valiant Hearts, The Great War, which is a game that's been out on PlayStation and Xbox, which is a great game. Did you ever play Valiant Hearts?
I can't remember which format I had it on, either the PS4 or the Xbox, but yeah. Anyone who knows me, anyone who knows me, anything to do with either the First, Second World War, or any sort of war after that, I'll be all over because I'm kind of a big war nerd. Albeit kind of a bit sort of tongue in cheek, but not. It was just I thought it was quite insightful and quite impactful as well. It's probably not a word, but quite hard hitting in terms of sort of getting bits of the war in there that were quite poignant as well. So it's nice to see it coming back and being brought to a new audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the great thing about this game is that the gameplay for Valiant Hearts was really cool. It was really kind of varied. You played different characters, and then in between each of the levels, They had little kind of documentaries and documents that you could read, and it was telling you about the different battalions in the war, and just really kind of linking those stories together with some actual real world facts and some really interesting information. But this is coming. So Ubisoft announced that this is going to be coming on November the 8th. So this will be coming. I'm not sure. I've had the article and had a quick look around. I wasn't sure if this is coming out in physical as well as download, but I know it's definitely kind of coming digitally. But I couldn't see any word on this as physical or either Child of Light. So the first game that Ubisoft announced was Valiant Hearts, and then following after that, but still within this year, so you could think it's going to be December sometime, is Child of Light. Child of Light was fantastic. It was by Ubisoft Montreal, and it was kind of almost a kind of turn-based kind of RPG game. You played as this girl, and I loved it. It had such a great feeling to it. You know, it was part of those kind of, it was the Ubisoft games before Yarny. It's that kind of Ubisoft kind of make this in one indie game a year type thing, and Child of Light I think came out after Valiant Hearts. So they said that Child of Light is coming to the Switch. I think I'll pick it up again and play it again, because what they also teased is that they have another game, or in the little kind of in the image that they put out, there was just some kind of interesting bits kind of on the table, and one of them was labelled Child of Light 2. So obviously that set the internet ablaze that there's going to be a sequel, and if there's going to be a sequel, I'd happily play through Child of Light again, just to kind of get ready for that sequel. So we've got two really good games coming to the Switch. Not that we need them, especially I've got Dead Cells, which I'm playing tomorrow, but you know, Child of Light and Valiant Hearts are heading their way. So if you haven't played those before, or you're just picking the Switch up as your first console, then these games are definitely worthwhile jumping into.
Yeah. And it just goes to show, you know, it's more sort of service for the Switch, and it's great to see, you know, publishers and developers, you know, seeing the opportunity there, because again, these sort of games feel like they were made for the Switch, and again, the Switch was made for them. So, you know, it's great to see that, yes, they might be a bit older, you know, both coming out in 2014, but inevitably there'll be people who maybe are just Nintendo fans that didn't play them on the, you know, the PS4 and the Xbox. So for them to get that service to say, here they are now for the first time for you guys who are just playing on Nintendo, to actually have a go on them and actually play them. So yeah, I hope it continues. You know, like I say, again, you know, I think one of the criticisms of the Switch is that the games that are coming to it at the minute are just re-releases, but I think it kind of needs that in a way, you know, because, you know, there's games that may have been missed from the Wii U to the Switch or from other consoles, so I'm happy with it, and like I say, long may it continue. So as long as the price is right, that's obviously the important bit, as long as the pricing is right on these.
Yeah, I was just having a look through the thing. I couldn't see any pricing yet. I don't think Ubisoft have kind of announced the price yet, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, these were fantastic games, and I'm happy to kind of have these little kind of indie titles and mop them up on the Switch and just kind of play them, because they're, you know, like Dead Cells. Dead Cells is available on the PlayStation 4, it's available on the Xbox, but tomorrow I've just chosen to kind of play that on the Switch, because it kind of feels that it's such a great game to take on the road, and it's kind of one of those kind of quality titles that I'm looking to play. And it's one of the amazing things about the Switch is that you can take these fantastic indie titles and kind of and play them. And there's lots more games that I would love. You know, you see some games now, I think we've said it before on the pod, but you see some games now, you go, oh, I can't wait for that to come out on the Switch. You know, I was like that with Stardew Valley. You know, Stardew Valley was out on the Xbox, and I was tempted, but I was like, no, I'm going to wait for the Switch, which, yeah, for me is a big thing, because there's not even any achievements or anything like that, so I'm just happily playing them on the Switch.
Yeah, it's more of a convenience thing, isn't it? Like you say, especially for you, you know, travelling, you know, so as often and frequently as you do, you know, just have that availability to just dip in and out of it. I've got 2 hours on the train today, so I'll just play it for 2 hours on the train, because otherwise, probably the only alternative would be, should it have released on that format, is like the iPad, isn't it? You know, so to play it on there, which, as great as it is, it's not as good as playing with the controller, is it? So, you know, just to have that there, like you say, to have a format that, you have your achievements, you don't have that social aspect on the Switch like you do the PS4 and the Xbox, but you're willing to take that hit for a game that you can probably dedicate more time to because of the format it's actually on. So yeah, it's good. it's good.
Absolutely spot on. No, absolutely. And then the final piece of news, it just dropped today, is that Doom is coming to Xbox Game Pass. So, and it's coming tomorrow. So on August 10th, we're podding on the Thursday, but on tomorrow, Friday, August 10th, Doom will be coming to Xbox Game Pass. So anyone who hasn't played the new version of Doom that came out probably about 18 months ago, it's going to be available on Game Pass. And, I thoroughly enjoyed this game and highly recommend jumping into this game. If you have Game Pass, this is just a must. If you're playing, I believe it's got 4K HDR kind of bump now as well, and so that it looks stunning before. But anyone who's listened to this pod for a while was when it came out, I was waxing lyrical about this game and just kind of really enjoying my time with it, because it's just one of those games that I just picked it up just to see what it was like, and I just wanted to kind of jump in and just kind of have a bit of a laugh, and I ended up staying for the entire campaign and just enjoying every moment of it. I sucked in multiplayer, but playing the single player was fantastic. It really kind of encourages you to kind of get up close, do a bit of melee, take them out with stun them, and then shoot them, because that's how you get health and that's how you regen your health. But it's absolutely fantastic, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to just kind of download it, fire it up again, because I'm pretty sure I never got to see the 4K HDR bump on this, so I'm looking forward to kind of just jumping in, because I remember there was this one point where you kind of go to a level, and the level is incredible. I won't spoil it, but the level is just absolutely incredible. I remember just looking up, taking a load of screenshots, because it was just stunning.
Yeah, and I was surprised and both pleased when I saw this was actually in the news today, because it's one of these things that I haven't actually played yet, but I was waiting to get it on the Switch. Not necessarily that that's the best format to play it on, but just to see the Switch playing a game like Doom, to see how it handled it.
Yeah.
So it is on my boomerang list, but now this has come on Games Pass. I can happily take that off now, because, like you say, it's tomorrow. So come tomorrow, the weekend, whenever, I can just have it downloaded, save it there until I can actually get on it, because all the DLC for this is free as well. So even you get the so you get the game, like we say, quote unquote, for free with your Games Pass. You get everything as well, because you get everything, the extra DLC with it as well. So when you're playing it, you are playing everything at the same time. And like I say, even if you say, oh well, it cost me something because I pay for my subscription. If you say, what, it cost you £1, the other content you're getting for £1 or less, it's so worth it. So it's
yes.
And again, much like games are coming to the Switch, it's great that Games Pass is having these games come to it, because Games Pass could quite easily just be Microsoft first party titles, just a bit, like EA Access is basically, but to see these games coming out for it, that are free, I think it says in the article that it's actually on sale at the moment, which it's kind of on sale. So I think maybe whether it's cynical or not to try and get some people to buy it before it comes free, I don't know. But to get these sort of games coming in to Games Pass, to have them, because I think you mentioned it last week. I've downloaded it. Hitman's in there at the moment, So again,
yes.
That's something that I have on the boomerang list to play. So that can be knocked off now, because I'm getting that through my subscription. So yeah, to see it, to how positively it came in for both you guys and critically as well. I think everything was overwhelmingly positively about it. When it first came out, saying that it is just a big, stupid, silly Doom, as you'd expect Doom to be. Because it's not taking itself too seriously. It's not got an overly serious story to it. It's just big, silly fun. There's big guns, there's big monsters. You just blow things up, you blow monsters up, and like you say, just getting involved, taking some monsters down with melee and things. So it's just good fun.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, isn't it? Enjoying your time playing it.
Indeed, like I say, I just couldn't wait to jump onto this game. When I started playing it, I was really kind of in the zone and just absolutely loved it. And I didn't know about the DLC, so that's absolutely fantastic. And also, this is kind of running in time with if you're listening to this pod on the day we release, it's probably already just happened. But they have the trailer for Doom Eternal, so the sequel to Doom. They're going to drop the very first gameplay trailer for Doom Eternal is coming out on Friday. So that trailer's around and available. I'll stick it in the show notes when it comes available. So that's kind of coinciding with that. So it's also kind of good marketing. I expect to probably see at the end of the trailer, Doom now available on Game Pass, something like that. So even if you didn't know, you just kind of like go off and start playing it. So really good call, I think. And like I say, Game Pass just continues to be really good value.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's it cost? Is it $6.99 or $7.99 for the month? So it's nothing, is it? Consider you pay that for Netflix, don't you? You pay that for Netflix, and most people who have Netflix will rinse that subscription, for what they pay a month for it. And Game Pass is the same. Even if you don't play a game religiously for the month, like you say, if you consider that Sea of Thieves is on there, well, you've paid £8 for the month, right? Well, you've basically paid £8 for Sea of Thieves there, aren't you? As opposed to £40, which obviously it's not great for, you don't know the money involved in the background for Microsoft putting the games on Games Pass, but, as opposed to going and buying it. But from the consumer side of things, you're saving so much money by having that, like say, in effect, in a way, you could get rid of, like us, well, we wouldn't, but you could get rid of your Boomerang membership, because you've got Games Pass, because there's so much there that you could just get that and be happy with it, and eventually just wait for your first party ones that you aren't too bothered about to just drop in price, and the money you save from Games Pass, you could just go buy when it's sort of like £15-20 later down the line, So again, it's not great for maybe the devs, the devs and the publishers, but from a consumer point of view, it's just logical. It just makes so much sense economically to have it. Yes, they don't last there forever like Netflix, but if you get it while it's there, play it. For some games, for me, that's great, because this is why I rent games, because I can play it and just send it back and don't have to worry about it. Because I don't hold on to many games, so it's the perfect answer to the question, really.
Yeah, because I did notice, I'm sure it was Game Pass, but I did notice the other day that Resident Evil, there was a few Resident Evil games that were like leaving Game Pass this month. Was this, so I was just like, that's an interesting one. But just looking, I've got the Xbox app fired up here, just skimming through Game Pass, you've got Sea of Thieves, you've got Rocket League, you've got State of Decay, Fallout 4, The Division, Halo, Gears of War 4, just Rise of the Tomb Raider, just that.
Yeah, that alone. I think you said this last. I think you said this last week. If you bought an Xbox now and had, decent speed internet and just got a Games Pass membership, you wouldn't need to buy a game. You wouldn't need to go to the shop and get a disc, because it's got everything out of the box ready to go, and for all the criticism that Microsoft get over Sony for how they handled the start of the generation, I think Microsoft have got it back now. For me, if you compare Microsoft and Sony as it is now, I think the Xbox is a much more exciting proposition from just out of the box, availability, functionality, for a new consumer. It's certainly, to me, a more appealing prospect anyway.
Absolutely. And I think on that note, Steve, we'll call it a day.
Yes, it's getting dark outside.
It is. You can see our kind of screens as we're seeing each other. We're disappearing into the darkness. So on that dark moment, that's about it for this episode. Big thank you for listening, Steve. Big thank you for pulling up the mic.
No, thank you for having me again.
Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gameslostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter. We're at Lost Spark Pod. You can find us on YouTube and also Gamers Lost Spark, PS4 Community and Xbox One Club. Keep an eye on the Xbox One Club, especially with Forza Horizon 4 coming out. I think it's time to dust off the Gamers Lost Spark Car Club, which I wrongly named it last time and couldn't change it to Club, because I put Gamers Lost Spark Car Club and then it was like Gamers Lost Spark Car Club. So yeah, I'm going to put that
so
again
good we named it twice.
Exactly. So yeah, that will be on the PS. No, it won't be on the PS. It will be on the Xbox One Club. But anyway, Steve, where can people catch up with you?
So I am SteeCarter91 on Xbox Live. I am at Stee_Carter91, and I am Cartero on the PlayStation Network.
Excellent stuff for me. I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, send it to our email address. That's feedback@gameslostspark.com. That's about it. We'll chat to you guys next week. Say goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye.
You've learnt your lesson this time.
still doesn't trump Thomas's exit, I don't think.
Oh, Thomas was just excellent.
Thomas is always good.
That was full Thomas. I wonder how many times you can say Thomas.
Thomas on demand. Thomas.
Yes.
You say it so many times, he turns up. He just appears behind you.
It just appears behind you in the spirit of Luigi.
Luigi format, yeah.
It's me, a Thomas.